Steve Areno's Italian Eatery is your go-to spot for delicious eats and good vibes. Offering mouth-watering pizzas with all your favorite toppings, pasta dishes that'll make your taste buds dance, killer burgers, and amazing steaks too. Whether you're grabbing a quick bite with friends or enjoying a laid-back dinner with family, Steve Areno's has got you covered. So head over to Chattanooga's North Shore where you can kick back, relax, and let Steve Areno's take care of the cooking. Steve Areno's Italian Eatery is a proud supporter of Cadus.
The Flying Locksmith is your trusted partner in all things security, offering commercial security systems, security cameras, audio and video intercom systems, supply, installation, and commercial-grade door hardware. In need of hands-free hardware to reduce the spread of germs? Worry no more, because the Flying Locksmiths are here to save the day. With fast response times and top-notch service, they'll be sure to keep you safe, secure, and protected in no time. Unlocking peace of mind, one lock at a time. Flying Locksmiths is a proud supporter of alcohol and drug abuse recovery at Cadus. Welcome to Scarred But Smarter podcast, hosted by Jeff Stiles, presented by Cadus, Council for Alcohol and Drug Abuse Services, sharing relatable stories of addiction recovery along with our hearts, our voices, and an abundant amount of love with all of those affected by the disease of addiction. We thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey. And now, here is your host, Jeff Stiles.
Hey folks, welcome back to Scarred But Smarter, the podcast that is sponsored and put on here by Cadus, Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse Services here in the beautiful and scenic and historic city of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And it's a gorgeous July morning, and Jeff Stiles is my name with a Y, and I'm the one that basically conducts the interviews here. Mary Catherine Gentry is somewhere nearby. She's the one that came up with this idea, and it's been a very good idea and a very successful one. A lot of people picking up this podcast, and it's beginning to grow very, very rapidly. Been right at a year now we've been doing this. And we have a guest, as we always do in here, and I'm going to introduce him right now. His name is Boyd Cobb, and I have seen Boyd's face, and we have exchanged words many, many times in the past, but I did not know that he was the father of a man that I respect and admire and have nothing but appreciation and love for. Brad Cobb, here in town, of course, local, famous for being a remarkably successful automobile dealer and also a monstrous biker. That was one of the most interesting twists I've ever seen in my life for somebody in his position to suddenly become a world-renowned, literally nationally ranked biking enthusiast. Now, Mr. Cobb, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.
And now this is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of set this up just right off the bat. Boyd is 90 years old.
Correct.
90 years old, and
Yes,
and there's, I'm not going to say plenty, I'm not going to say a lot of healthy 90-year-olds out there, but I don't know that many. But Boyd, the truly interesting thing about his story is not about, it's just his health level at this age and the thing he's recently pulled off for charity, but it's the fact that he got sober, since this is all about sobriety and addiction. He got sober at the age of
84.
84, 6 years ago.
Correct.
Let's start there. All right, but give me just a little bit of a bio. I just heard you and Mary Catherine talking. You came from a big family from this area.
I came from a large family over in North Alabama, a little community called Harvest. Harvest is located 16 miles northwest of Huntsville off of the Huntsville-Ardmore Highway. And I went to grammar school through the 8th grade there and moved on down to a school called Monrovia and then ended up my senior year at Huntsville High School. But I have a large family. My dad was married, and he had 5 boys and 3 girls. Unfortunately, his wife got pneumonia and passed away.
Not uncommon for those days.
And this would have been around 1920. And so she passed away, and my mother, who was at that time about 20 years old, obviously single, and she married my dad and helped finish raising those 8 kids that my dad had, he and his first wife. And in the process of her being married to Dad, she had 5 boys and 3 girls.
So
a duplicate of
8 is enough, plus 8 is enough. 16 is a hell of a lot.
5 boys, 3 girls, 5 boys, 3 girls, and so
I see a pattern.
it's it's been, and I grew up like I say, and there was at one time there was 7 boys sleeping in one bedroom upstairs, 3 sisters, 4 and a half sisters living in the north bedroom upstairs. My granddad lived with us, and we had Mom and Dad actually had beds in the living room, and we just had people all over the house.
So suffice to say that Harvest, Alabama was a happening place for a little while for you. There was not a whole lot of quiet, not a whole lot of solitude, and probably lots of activity, if I know siblings at all.
Harvest was just a little community. When I first remember it had 2 grocery stores, and somehow or another it ended up with 3 little stores. I say grocery stores, little country stores
Sure.
on the corner of the square there at Harvest. There's railroad, the old railroad bed, and then Harvest Road were crisscrossed there, and
That was the crossroads.
that was the crossroads, and
Probably had a
it's-
farm store.
those stores they sold feed and seed,
Yeah.
and every
I can smell it.
fertilizer,
I can smell it now.
fertilizer, and you could go in and get cheese and crackers or
Cracker Barrel. I was going to say
piece-
the
you
the
could
type
get a
of place
piece
that
of- you could
Cracker
get a-
Barrel based itself on. Yeah,
You could get a piece of cheese and crackers, or you could get whatever you wanted. And you
hoop
could,
cheese and a dill pickle.
exactly, and so that was the. And the original store there was my dad's store, and he gave it to his oldest son by his first wife, and so he was the owner of the store, and so it was. And then there was a cotton gin in Harvest, and my half brother Lawrence, built a cotton gin for himself and his family, and so we had 2 gins and 3 little stores, and that was Harvest.
For people who are listening to this podcast elsewhere in the country, and we know you're out there in every far-flung corner of this great nation and around the world, people who have connections who have just discovered it. Let me describe a little something to you here, kind of just sketch this out for you, a little sketch about the American Southeast. It is seen by Hollywood and by a lot of the folks, just who've never been here before, as being kind of a homogenous. We all live in Hazard County, and we all drive hopped up muscle cars and big pickup trucks, and we go to the fishing hole, and we have big 4th of July barbecues, and all that is true, but the topography, the terrain, and what people do for a living is very, very different between the lowlands of South Carolina and the hills of East Tennessee and cotton country in Alabama. You don't see anybody in the Chattanooga area growing cotton anymore. You go just an hour down into Alabama and you start popping up cotton fields everywhere. And of course, we all know back in the day, cotton was king, and it was the South's greatest, export, and it was the moneymaker. But I mean, it's still there. And I've said this before, when you go down into, middle and lower Alabama, and I don't mean this as an insult, it's kind of like getting in a time machine. It's almost like the surrounding area almost takes on a sepia tone, like old photographs, and cotton plays a huge role in that imagery. Now, is that what is that what you did?
Yes.
As a young man, did you stick with it for a while?
Well, I was actually I got out of high school and was going to college, and I wasn't happy with the situation. I went to Florence State Teachers College over in Florence, Alabama, which is now University of Alabama, Florence, or something like that.
My old boss at Talk Radio, Bill Lockhart, was from Florence. He was a Florence boy.
I had a sister that lived there, and so she invited me to live with her and her husband, 2 kids. And literally, her husband was a nut. And
I want you to speak your mind now.
and after one semester, I gave up and went back to Harvest and joined the Army.
That's one way out.
I volunteered for draft and joined the Army. I went in the service on February the 15th, 1954, when I was still 18 years old. And stayed 2 years, volunteered for draft for 2 years. And I got out on February 14th, 1956. And went back to Huntsville, worked for from February until September. And my older brother came to town. He was in Pensacola, Florida, working as an electrical engineer with Gulf Power. And he came specifically to Harvest to take me to Auburn to enroll me in Auburn in college. And so...
And in those days, and still to a large degree, Auburn, kind of first and foremost, I guess my impression, chiefly an agricultural school.
Engineering and architect.
Architecture.
Yes, they're big in architect. A lot of people and veterinarian.
I want to get to the actual, of course, the crux of this podcast and drinking and alcoholism and drug abuse and things of that nature. We're going to get there, but what did you end up doing? I know. Again, I know your son. I know what he's done. I don't know your story. What did you end up doing here in town? What was your career?
Oh, I graduated from Auburn. Went to work with a company out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin called Line Material Industries, which made products for the electrical industry. They made cutouts for restaurant boats, insulators, transformers, pad mount transformers, all kinds of electrical equipment. And I was selling to the distributors in the area these products.
And American manufacturing was booming in those days.
Correct.
Booming.
And I was with Line Material, and I had a wife at that time, and I had 3 kids, Brad, Mitch, and Kelly. And Kelly's my oldest daughter. She's the oldest, and she's the daughter, and then Mitch, and then Brad. And then there 6 years total from the top to bottom, 3, 3, and 3, anyway. But I didn't want to move to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so that
I don't blame you.
the company wanted me to move to Milwaukee with 3 kids, and so I got a local job with a electric supply house called Size Electric, and I was working with them and doing selling the same products to basically the same people through East and Middle Tennessee and Upper East Tennessee. And it just was really, I got to know a lot of people, and so I wasn't happy with what I was making, so I decided to leave and become a manufacturer's rep. And that was a very, very good decision.
Again, Chattanooga was known as the Dynamo of Dixie in those days, too, just trying to kind of keep up the timelines here.
So I became a manufacturer's rep. And I had some great lines. I had Kaiser Aluminum, I had Transformers, I had, just on and on and on. One of the companies I picked up was a pole manufacturer out of South Alabama, and I sold hundreds of loads of poles.
As in power poles?
Power poles,
yes.
Utility poles.
Yes.
In all sizes. You just, people order what they need.
See, you guys out there, you never think about that. How many power poles and utility poles do you pass every day? It's just part of your landscape, right? It's part of your life, like a picket fence going by. Somebody makes those things, and somebody sells those things. Somebody buys those things. Somebody puts those things in the ground.
That was one of my best products, actually. Anyway, and if I just turned 90, and I still have a customer that calls me to buy his power poles. Thank you, sweet Jesus. That's a God thing.
In his contest, he has pole guy, Boyd, and there you go. So, all right, let's rush very quickly. I could talk to you for a long time. My father was a sharecropper and grew cotton, and my dad grew up very, very poor, dirt poor, and picking cotton. I mean, it's traditional Southern story. I could pick your brain for years and swap the stories that I've heard from him with what you have dealt with in your life as well. But I got to get to the drinking part, since that's really why we're here today. When did alcohol get introduced to your life, and when did it become an issue? Obviously, you waited a while before you actually decided to do something drastic about it, but just kind of give me a little bit of a backstory.
Well, I never drank until I was around. Actually, I was in college before I drank anything. I just didn't drink beer. I spent 2 years in the Army and never drank a beer.
That's amazing.
I spent years, sober. And then at school, I drank a little bit. And then after school, I drank a little bit. And we got to know, we moved to Chattanooga. My wife was very outgoing, and we got to know a lot of people. And people in Chattanooga like to party on weekends. I found that out. And so it just gradually got worse, and I drank more and more. Now, this is over from 1961 to I quit, really, but it just got, I started drinking more and more.
More and more beer? Did you start switching to liquor?
No, I was liquor. I was drinking vodka, and I was drinking every day. And it just, I lost control.
All right. The unusual aspect of your story, more so than any other, and you know what, in AA, we always love to use that phrase, we're all just a bunch of garden variety drunks. And I have some qualms with that particular bumper sticker. I know at its most base level that's true, but all of our stories are very different. And the one that truly sets yours apart, just looking at it on paper, is your age when you decided to stop and really get serious about recovery. And I want to come back to that, and that's where we're going to start right after we take this break. We have commercial sponsors, or let's just say underwriters here at this podcast, and I want to make sure that we give them full credit for doing the good work that they do and making sure that this gets into your ear holes.
Are you looking to bring your commercial project to life? Look no further, because the expert team of Robert Roberts General Contractors specializes in turning your vision into a reality. From concept to completion, Robert Roberts General Contractors handles every detail of your commercial project with precision and care, ensuring that your project is delivered on time and within budget. Robert Roberts General Contractor is a proud supporter of substance abuse recovery at CADIS. Let's dream big and take steps towards creating a community where everyone feels valued, supported, and empowered to reach their full potential. Support those on the path to recovery by donating to CADIS today.
Back with Boyd Cobb, my guest, 90 years young, and went into, did you go to rehab? At 84.
Over the years, I went in Chattanooga, I went out to a place out off of Interstate 75 back east. I can't remember the name of it. And then
what circa year would that have been?
I was probably late 60s. That would have been.
It was before.
20, somewhere around 2020, no, we've been before that, 20, around 2001, somewhere in that area.
Okay, so yeah, just right after the turn of the century and the millennium.
Yeah, I went there, and then a couple of years later, I went to another IPO, they call them, here in Chattanooga.
Intensive outpatients.
And it was off of the road at the shopping center out there, Shalford Road. And again, for a month of
The standard 28-day sort of
yeah,
treatment.
Yeah, right. And none of that worked. None of that.
Well, I imagine it did for 28 days, but yeah, it didn't stick.
Anyway, it didn't work, and so I just kept drinking, and finally, at one point, Kelly and Brad and Mitch got together, got me, and set me down and says, we call that a mini intervention,
Yeah.
by the way.
It's many as long as it's just your family.
Yeah.
It becomes an intervention when you have outside third parties come in.
Anyway, they sat down and said, Dad, we don't care if you drink. You can drink all you want to, but we're going to have to put some rules on you. And we're going to put a breathing tube in your car, and we're going to, if you're drinking, we don't want you to come be around the grandkids. We don't want to
Ooh,
be
that
around.
hurt.
We don't want to be around you either while you're drinking. And you're not yourself. You're somebody else when you're drinking. And so that got my attention. And so they said, how about would you consider going away to some place away from Chattanooga for treatment? And so I agreed to that because I didn't have any other choice. I didn't want to lose my family. And so Kelly did a lot of research, and we found like 5 places that were we thought would be okay, and then but the one we set on finished that were like the best for my position was Cumberland Heights in Nashville, Tennessee.
I've heard a lot about Cumberland Heights.
And so my daughter called and wanted to enroll me, and when they said, how old's your dad? And they said 84. She said 84. They said, we don't think that will work. We have a lot of steps here. Anyway, she said, well, you don't know my dad. He's very active, and steps are not a problem for him.
And he'll be pissed off enough at the fact that he's there that he'll attack those steps. Yeah.
But anyway, I got enrolled. Mitch took me up on the designated date to go, and I was there for 4 weeks, and I really enjoyed it. That first week I was kind of skeptical, but I made some great friends. I actually ended up enjoying it.
The reason I asked about the date, and I said circa what period of time, because during a brief couple of years in my career, I was in radio sales. Now, anybody who knows me knows Stiles was in sales. He does nothing but offend people. How did that work? Well, not very well. But some of my most lucrative accounts, I had two. Couldn't have them at the same time because they were competitors, but I actually cycled through Greenleaf. And then there was another one in town. I won't mention their name. But they were huge direct-to-consumer advertisers. They advertised on the radio, on TV, in print ads and billboards. And that was huge at the time. I'm assuming that the insurance industry had kind of fallen into place, and that was working for me. We're talking about the mid to late 80s. Then you saw those ads disappear for a long time. It was like, what happened to the recovery business? They were everywhere. They've spent a lot of money on advertising. Now they're back. And I think, do you go back all the way to your youth? And, the time when you might have been drinking too much beer as a young man, a young father. Back in those days, any sort of rehab place kind of had that weird connotation. It was an asylum. It was like the snake pit,
right.
And you didn't want to tell anybody if you went. Nowadays, it's almost a bragging point. I guess I'm saying is there's a sine wave of popularity falling out of popularity. It's okay. The stigma's not there anymore. Oh, the stigma's back. So you probably got a little bit of dose of all those things over the course of time.
Well, I never felt like it was a stigma. I mean, I'll tell anybody that I went to Cumberland Heights for treatment, and it took. And there was some guys there, 20, over 22, 25, 30. Most of the people were young guys. There was a couple of 50-year-olds. I was the oldest guy that ever went to Cumberland Heights at that time. I don't know whether they got anyone else any older or not, but I fit those guys that I were with treated me like I was one of them, It wasn't grandpa this, grandpa that. It was BC, Boyd, and they treated me like I was one of them, and I got some really good, and still, I try to go back up to Cumberland Heights every year, somewhere near my birthday of
Sobriety birthday.
Sobriety birthday, and there's 3 or 4 that came this year with me, and we have a link on our phone that we communicate back and forth. And so I felt like it was my duty to stay sober and to show those guys that it can be done.
At any age.
At any age.
I hate to just focus on that, but it is it's an unusual thing. When I relapsed in 2019 and got out of a facility right outside of Knoxville on New Year's Day, 2020, painfully, or I guess I should say blissfully unaware of what 2020 was about to bring and the strangeness in our our lives with COVID and the epidemic and everything. But I was, without a doubt, I was one of the oldest folks there. And I can't say that I did feel the welcoming the way you did. At that time, I still had longer hair and it had gotten very gray. I had a full beard because it's wintertime, very gray. When I walked in, I got the immediate moniker of Santa Claus, Father Time, and it really did. It bothered me. It got to me. I'll be frank. I mean, I know I'm old. I know I'm there, but I wanted to feel like I was, and inside still, there's a part of me that's still 19, right? I wanted to feel like I fit in. I didn't get that. I'm very glad you did. I'm very glad you did. And frankly, I gotta say, knowing human beings the way I do, I'm a little bit surprised.
Well, like I say, I feel like it's that I need to set an example for all those guys, and that's helped me not drink. I don't crave it. I don't think about it. Some people say they
It's not a daily obsession with you anymore.
It's just it doesn't. It's not there. It's gone completely. And that's the amazing part.
And I'll remind everybody again, you're listening to Scarred But Smarter, podcast that is sponsored by CADIS, Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse Services. My guest, Boyd Cobb, and 90 years old, and got sober the last time, and it stuck at the age of 84. Do you have any peers, anybody else in your circle of friends that could even begin to make that kind of claim that they got sober in their 80s and are sober in their 90s? You're a unicorn as far as I can tell.
Well, no, I do not know of anyone that tried to go through alcoholic treatment that even in their 70s that were successful.
I don't want to be flippant or glib here, but I can see the facilities going, why? I mean, literally, I can just see them going, well, why? I mean, why does he want to do that? Well, because it was important to you. It was important to your family. How did your family react when you got out? And clearly, you've maintained.
I never lost my family. Thank goodness. A lot of people lose all their money and all their family, and I never lost any of that. But I was going to lose. I was going to lose contact if I kept drinking with them. And my wife had been on. Excuse my conversation here. I've been on my ass about drinking too much for probably 30 years, and I just flipped it off and ignored her. But when my kids got together and did that, it was a light bulb went off.
There's a lot of similarities in my life between my parents and my children. The thing that don't be disappointed in me. You can be mad at me. My mom was mad at me. I could deal with that. If my mom was disappointed in me, that really had an effect. And I can amplify that and multiply that with kids. The kids can be angry at me because I don't do something right, or I just haven't lived up to something. Maybe they had an expectation I didn't meet. But if they're disappointed with me, that breaks my heart. And I mean, when I said, ooh, that hurt, when talking about your grandkids, I know that had to be strong medicine.
That hurt. That was going to hurt. And so it just, I really, really enjoyed the 4 weeks at Cumberland Heights, and it was a great facility. I think I might have gained 8 or 10 pounds. Their food was so good up there.
Thank you for pointing that out. Everybody, I think they have this idea that you're going to go into a place and you're going to waste away. You're going to be, living on bread and water like you're in prison. My God, they throw the calories at you. I was never heavier up until that time than when I got out of rehab the first time. I couldn't believe it. I gained probably 12 to 15 pounds. I believe I did.
I think I was at 12 pounds when I got home.
And you're looking for something to replace what you used to do. Muscle memory, just your daily your body's used to burning all those sugar calories. Did your cravings for sweets go up? Because mine went through the roof. I never ate sweets, and I would sit there and eat a pint of ice cream like it was an Oreo.
I always ate sweets. Mother was a great cook, and she could make chocolate pies and cakes and puddings, banana pudding, and cobblers. I mean, and I've always had a sweet tooth for food, for sugar, and so it got worse when I got through rehab. I was craving something.
Well, yeah, alcohol is pure sugar.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. It's fermented sugar, and so your body's used to it.
But anyway, I survived all of that, and I've been able to maintain. I used to weigh about 175, and I'm losing a lot of muscle mass over the years as
to be
get
expected,
older, which is normal.
Yeah.
And so I think I weighed yesterday or this morning. I think I weighed about 147. So I'm at the weight that I want to be at, and I've got plenty of strength. I still walk the golf course, carry my golf bag at 90.
Let's talk about that for a second. We'll get one more break coming up, and we'll go ahead and do this. I'm going to come back and talk about his most recent, Boyd's most recent accomplishment and how he's turned that into something for the community. And we're going to come right back to that in just a second. Don't go anywhere.
Simba Community Care believes in providing high-quality, affordable care to everyone in our community. Get to know Simba at simba.org and be a part of a caring community that empowers you to thrive.
All right, back here on Scarred But Smarter with Boyd Cobb, my guest. My name's Jeff Stiles with a Y. And we were just talking about the fact, all right, Boyd is 90 years old. He got sober at 84. So he's had 6 years of complete total sobriety. Obsession is gone. Compulsion is gone. I know, I can guess at the circles you run in, and I'm sure you're constantly surrounded by people with a toddy, with a cocktail. You're at the golf course. Your hand never reaches for it. You don't have that physical compulsion anymore. What a blessing.
Well, I am amazed that I can do that, and the desire's not there. I just, I drink water. I drink ice water all day long.
Did you feel a click? I've heard old timers talk about particularly the, 5 years into a program. People who were 5 years sober suddenly hearing a popping sound, and it was their own head coming out of their ass. And literally, they say it's almost like a click sound. You're like, hey, something just changed. Did you experience anything like that? A psychic change?
No,
there was noticeable.
I never felt that. But it's natural. It's the thing. They taught me at Cumberland Heights, just do the right thing every time. Just do the right thing.
Never the wrong time to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay, you are in obviously very good shape, and let's talk about something you just achieved. And you and Mary Catherine were talking about it on my way in. This is one of my darkest secrets. I hardly ever admit to this. I played golf as a young man. Very few people who know me and have known me as an adult could ever have seen me on a golf course. I was a hippie freak. It just didn't fit. I actually played on the high school team. And the older you get, I have so many friends, that is the centerpiece of their life, is their golf game. And shooting your age is a huge deal. Shooting your age is a big, big, big deal. And but you recently took a challenge, a personal challenge, and you turned it into a fundraiser for a local organization. You were going to play 90 holes at the age of 90, and you did. and you ended up raising a bunch of money. It started with some personal side bets going on, and it turned into a fundraiser. Tell me about that.
Well, the whole thing started with Brad, my son, one of my sons. At dinner one night, we were just before his 56th birthday. We were sitting and talking, and he was talking about what he was going to do for his 56th birthday. He was going to ride his mountain bike 56 miles. He was going to jog 5.6 miles. He was going to do 56 crunches, 56 this, 56 that, on and on and on. And so he looked at me when he got through and said, "Dad, you got a birthday coming up real soon. You're going to be 90. What are you going to do for your birthday?" And I'm sitting there dumbfounded after hearing all the stuff,
all the plans he had
that were impossible for me to even match.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I like to play golf. I said, "Brad, I think I'll play 90 holes of golf a month to celebrate my 90th birthday." And that's where it started. And then later at the club, country club, Chattanooga Golf and Country Club, was talking to some people, and they were going to try to get up a bet, if you will, and about how many holes I could go, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, "No, I don't want that."
Over and under.
Oh, yeah. And I said, "I don't want that. I'm going to find an organization that needs some funds, and I'm going to donate. I'll do the 90 holes to donate funds to this organization." And I've known David Haskins at YoungLife. My kids were active in
YoungLife Ministries.
YoungLife of Chattanooga.
Yeah.
And then it's a Christian-based organization here in town, and they're all over the United States and in, I guess, the world. But so I called David and said, told him what I was going to do, and asked him would he be interested in let me use him as a sponsor. And he said he'd love to, and he put one of his employees with me, and we worked up a deal, and so we just, I thought if I could raise $10,000, $15,000, that would be great.
That'd be a very good lick for them. But I mean, a pretty modest goal.
And so we started that, and finally time rolled around, and April got here, and I had my birthday, and I was going to play golf on Monday the 7th. My birthday was on the 5th. But unfortunately, on Sunday, we had a monsoon. We had like 5 inches of rain here in Chattanooga.
I think there's been only 5 days in the spring and summer so far this year that we haven't had a monsoon.
But so we moved it to the next Monday, the 14th. And I teed off at 7:05, and had the golf course was closed. There was nobody in front of me. I was riding a golf cart. I wasn't walking and carrying like I usually do.
You can still carry 18, but 9 is a whole different story. Yeah.
Anyway, I had a 4 caddy, and I had Brad was supposed to be there, but he was going to be there the first Monday, but he couldn't because he had tickets to Coachella with his family in California. And so he was not there, but my son-in-law, Jeff Nation, helped. He came in, was my spotter, and Brad, and then Susan and Kelly. Susan, my wife, and Kelly, my daughter, and a granddaughter that lives here who came by. And it was a neighborhood deal because people kept dropping in to the golf course to check on me, and I did. I finished I did 91 holes instead of 9. I did 1 to grow on.
Now, everybody, I want you to think about this for a second. Walking 18 holes of golf is a challenge for a young man in shape. I mean, I know, and trust me, nobody has made fun of golf more than I have. When I first started doing talk radio, I realized there were 3 things in Tennessee that if you made fun of them, people would just absolutely erupt. It was Elvis, the Vols, and golf. So, of course, I made it my point to make fun of all of them as often as I could because that's what I did. I was an agitator. But to say that golf is not a sport and that these are not athletes is incorrect because it is very physically trying. That's 5 full 18-hole games. 5.
Yes.
5 18-hole games. Masters tournaments in a day. That's fascinating. That's amazing. How did you hold up?
Well, Mitch was my driver and my caregiver, if you will. And he had gone online and asked whoever he was talking to the machine, I think, but they gave him, told him what to do to help me get through this. And so he had obviously platelet. We kept all the necessary water.
Yeah.
I must have drank 8 bottles of bottled water.
Sure.
With the
Electrolytes,
additives.
yeah.
Electrolytes in them, and we had ham and turkey and fruit. And
I was going to say probably a lot of orange slices.
And the golf cart
Yeah.
with us. So we didn't stop to eat a meal or anything. We just
You couldn't.
We kept playing golf. And it's interesting that we thought it's going to really be a push, and we did. We teed off at 7:05, and we turned the first 18 holes at 8:45.
Wow.
So we did the first 18 holes in an hour and 40 minutes.
And you weren't doing the Willie Nelson, just hitting it like a polo club from the cart, right? Yeah, you're actually playing a real serious game.
Actually, my scores were amazingly good. I started out with an 82, and then the second round, I don't know what happened. I got lucky. I made 4 birdies, and I ended up with a 78.
No luck.
Which is the best round I'd shot in the last 5-6 years.
And during a marathon day.
Yeah, during a marathon day.
That had to get your spirits up.
And then I came back with an 83, an 86, and an 88 in my last round.
So you shot under your age for all 5 games.
Correct.
You have got to be very proud. Come on now, you got to be very proud of yourself.
Well,
what a gold medal moment.
it's kind of like I expected because I shoot. I'm really playing bad if I don't shoot my age.
Gotcha.
So I normally shoot my age or
And
better.
I'm
or
at
better.
one other side bar here, and then I want to go back to one of the bottom line of what happened to that day. But I did see you got some media attention out of this. Didn't
Yeah.
was it Channel 3, Channel 9, Channel 12, all of them?
Just Channel 12.
Okay.
I went down.
Because I literally heard the story. I was in another room. I heard the story. I heard it because they tend to play it in the morning, in the evening, whenever it'll roll around. I heard it a couple of times, and we're constantly changing channels in my house. And all I knew is that it got a lot of attention from at least one of the local affiliates.
Well, the first thing was Mark Kennedy wrote a great article.
From the Chattanooga Times Free Press, who
Right.
does a lifestyle article. Great job.
He put a great article in, and then that's when I started getting calls. I was on Sports Talk on
GOW, my old place.
Jed. And
Talk
then
Radio 102.3.
And then I was on the TV with Channel 12 News.
Uh-huh.
And then I was on a talk show with Mike Jenkins and what's the Friday afternoon golf deal. I can't.
Not sure.
Okay, anyway,
That's right.
And then I did a repeat on Channel 12, and Mark Kennedy came out the day that I played the 18 holes and came to my house that night and wrote a second article about doing that.
You were
And
still awake and you could actually move.
it was interesting that I think I went to bed about 10:30. I was tired. I'd have to admit that. I lost my legs about the 72nd 73rd.
Mark does a great job, and of course, obviously, the guys over at Talk, I still talk to them all the time. I don't like the company, but I still like the people that work there, the local folks. They're still my friends. The company can go to hell. But this is the bottom line, though. I just heard you say a number to Mary Catherine a minute ago, and you said at this point, so I'm assuming people can still contribute.
Correct.
So let's get that plug in there right now. But you raised, instead of $10,000 to $15,000, the modest goal you were going for, you raised how much at last check?
$132,000
$132,000
was donated to YoungLife.
Wow.
For me, doing something that I love to do.
You ought to be able to sit back on your laurels a little bit, just a little bit, and not worry about it having to prop up anything else anytime soon. That's fantastic. That's got to be a mammoth contribution for them, I would think.
Yes, it's. I think it's one of the largest fundraisers they've had.
Can people still contribute?
Yes.
How do they do it?
You can make the check out if you want to pay. If you want to pay cash, we'll give you a receipt. But make it out to YoungLife of Chattanooga, or you can call them. It's CHA. It's YLCHATT.org/bet on Boyd.
So once again, YC
No, okay.
chat.
No, YL.
YL. I'm sorry. YL Young Life Chattanooga. So YL chat.
CHATT.org/bet on Boyd.
So you can still make a contribution. Now, more often than not, we'll be wrapping up here in just a minute. We'll be out of time. And I spend a lot of time on these interviews and in these shows, these podcasts, talking about the worst experiences people have had, followed by some of the best experiences they've had. Try to get a real slice of life in here. Because of the unusual nature of your story, I haven't spent that much time, but I do want to give you the opportunity. Other than the threat of losing contact with your grandchildren and your family, was there a particular point during your drinking career where you hit a rock bottom that was not related to that, where you thought, you know what, I'm truly screwed here. I'm screwed, blued, and tattooed. I am messing up.
Well, actually, that never happened to me. I just never had that. I never hit the rock bottom that a lot of people do. But I was really doing some stupid stuff, and the fact that my kids were so concerned, and as I said, Susan was always wanting me to quit. And the thing that helped me the most is that it's not that I'm not ever going to drink again. It's the fact that I've asked I believe in God, and I just ask Him to keep me, when I get up in the morning, I ask Him to keep me sober today. I'm not worried about next week or next month. I'm trying to get sober, and it's one day at a time. And today, I've got the strength to stay sober, and I don't worry about tomorrow. I'm doing it.
So
today.
far, you and I both have about the same amount of sobriety as of today.
Yeah,
probably about 10 hours. Whatever time you got up.
Whatever time it
yeah,
is.
1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time, one thread at a time, one event at a time, one person at a time, one visit at a time.
And this I'm somewhere up around 2,300 days of sobriety, and it's just today. That's all I'm asking for.
Do you remember the Chattanooga Star, the second riverboat that was over in the North Shore for years and years, the side paddle wheeler that was owned by Captain Mike and Captain Pete Hoseman?
Yeah, I remember the boat.
Just 2 weeks ago, my wife and I went to visit Captain Mike and his wife in South Carolina, Lake Marion. Beautiful area, just a little bit shy of this, just a little bit inland from Charleston. And Captain Mike is an eccentric guy. He's one of my favorite people in the world. The Chattanooga Star has now been turned into a floating Airbnb on Lake Marion. His yard and his property is it reminds me of Howard Finster's Magic Garden, Paradise Garden down in Somerville, full of knickknacks, paddywhacks, objects d'art, goats, chickens, just all kinds of stuff. It was a hoot. And he's like me. He's a maximalist when it comes to decorating. There's not 1 square inch of his house or the boat or anything that doesn't have something of interest, a conversation started up there. And one that I loved the most hung over the door of his upper deck, and it said, "You're never too old to have a happy ending. You're never too old to have a happy ending." I loved that. I'd never heard that before. And I just was kind of going to lead with that. Does anybody ever ask you, said, "Well, you know, I've done it all my life. I just think it's too late. I just think it's too late." I'm sure that comes up in conversations with you sometimes when you're talking with friends and people in your circle.
It's never too late. And let me say this. My wife and I decided that since we were tied to YoungLife now, that we would go to a YoungLife camp. And we went week 4 last to Colorado to a week of YoungLife camp. And even though I'm 90, I have never done a zip line. I did a
blast, aren't they?
I did a zip line, and my wife also did it with me. And I want to mention, I think we're going to go hang gliding sometime this summer. We'll go down off of.
You know, you need to talk to about that, don't you? The kid here. You give me a call, and I will hook you up. Hang gliding, paragliding, whatever it is you want to do. That was the sport that brought me to Chattanooga back in '84.
Okay.
And I highly recommend it. Well, and see, when I was I turned 60. I went skydiving again. I'd been several times before, but took all the kids that could go and would go. I took them all with me.
Skydiving is also on my list.
I highly recommend it. It's a great thing to do. It's a smile. You will have a smile on your face that you can't get rid of for 2 days. But hang gliding, I'm going to give a higher recommendation to, because it is the difference between falling and flying.
Yeah.
Falling 14,000 feet and having nothing bad happen to you is a rush, and it's great. Flying for an hour under your own power with nothing but the silence and the wind and your companion, because you'll be going tandem.
Right.
That's flying. It's not like flying. It's flying, and it's absolutely one of the best feelings in the world. Highly recommend that.
Well, I'm going to take you up on that.
Please
I'll
do.
Take you up on that.
Anything you'd like to just add? I mean, shout out to the, and again, I want to say Brad and I, we worked together on so many different projects, and I'm just going to give one more plug again. I don't know your other kids, and I'm not trying to leave them out, but Brad, at this point in his life, I guess he was in his 30s, late 30s, maybe even early 40s, when he decided to take up biking. And he became a monstrously competitive mountain biker. I mean, it wasn't just a weekend warrior. He lived this stuff. I watched him change his work schedule around that.
He still does. He gets in that. He goes. I'm going to say twice a month. He'll go on a serious
major ride.
Major ride of something.
Well, he's been
to Chile. He's been to, now he's out riding the mountains in Colorado and.
Has he done Leadville? Do you know if he's done Leadville?
Oh, yeah, he did Leadville.
That's the pinnacle.
He did that years ago.
I say, if you can do that, there's probably it'll all be downhill from there.
He's gotten even past Leadville into being dropped off by a helicopter on the top of a mountain with 2 or 3 other guys.
And just doing bomb runs on the way down.
Yes.
Well, good for him. Good for you. Anything else you just want to share, Dave? I kind of went off on that sidetrack there. I'm sorry.
Well, I had a thought a minute ago or something about it, but it slipped my mind. But it's just there's still a lot of things that I'm 90 years old. I'm not dead. And so don't treat me like I'm decrepit or something. I'm still living, and I want to keep doing some things. It's fun.
Looking for new experiences.
I'm looking for new experiences.
And to experience them sober.
And I'm doing all of this sober. I know what I'm doing. And this thing with YoungLife has just been such a blessing to me. I mean, it just goes to show that if you set your sights on something, you can do it.
Never too late to have a happy ending.
Never too late. Never too late.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Never too old.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
Scarred But Smarter is presented by Cadis. Council for Alcohol and Drug Abuse Services, Chattanooga's only nonprofit addiction recovery center with a full continuum of care, offering the highest quality of treatment to those struggling with substance abuse disorder, regardless of their ability to pay. Go to cadis.org to learn more about our recovery and aftercare programs or to make a donation, because every gift is much needed and greatly appreciated. Thank you for letting us be a part of your journey. Find us online at cadis.org.
Ferguson Bath Kitchen and Lighting Gallery, your destination for luxury home products that elevate every room in your house. Whether you're renovating your dream bathroom, designing a gourmet kitchen, or illuminating your living space with style, Ferguson has everything you need to turn your vision into reality. Transform your home into a sanctuary of sophistication with Ferguson Bath Kitchen and Lighting Gallery, where luxury meets inspiration. Ferguson proudly supports CADIS.
If you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol or drug abuse, reach out, seek support. Recovery is within reach. You are not alone, and CADIS will support you or your loved one every step of the way. Please call CADIS today for an assessment, 423-756-7644.